Johann Wolfgang von Goethe said, "To think is easy, to act is hard, but the hardest thing in the world is to act in accordance with your thinking." The definition of critical thinking is often debated upon, but the competing definitions can be comprehended as differing analysis of the same rather simple concept: careful thinking directed towards a goal. Critical thinking does not mean gathering information. Those who have good memory and are up to date with facts are not necessarily critical thinkers. Thinking critically entails considering those thoughts that are important and disregarding or ignoring those that are not. Some people argue that critical thinking inhibits creativity since it requires adhering to logical and rational standards, but creativity might require breaking rules. This is a misconception. Critical thinking is perfectly consistent with out-of-the-box thinking, defying consensus, and taking unconventional ways or approaches. If anything, critical thinking is a necessary component of creativity because it allows us to evaluate and improve our creative ideas. Cognition experts claim the human mind experiences between 60,000 to 80,000 thoughts a day, or a few thousand every hour. That's incredible! Hey guys, I'm Melchi and welcome back to my channel. What is critical thinking? The mode of thinking in which the thinker improves the quality of his or her thinking by actively and skillfully conceptualizing, applying, analyzing, synthesizing, and/or evaluating information gathered from or generated by observation, experience, reflection, reasoning, or communication as a guide to belief and action is known as critical thinking. Critical thinking is self-directed, self-disciplined, self-monitored, and self-corrective thinking. Critical thinking is the ability to think distinctly and rationally about what to do or what to believe in. How was the term critical thinking coined? In 1910, American philosopher John Dewey came up with the idea of reflective thinking, which we now call critical thinking. He defined it as active, persistent, and careful consideration of any belief or supposed form of knowledge in the light of the grounds that support it and the further conclusions to which it tends. What are characteristics of a critical thinker? A person with critical thinking skills can do the following: comprehend the sensible similarities between ideas, recognize, fabricate, and assess arguments, effective communication and problem solving, identify self-contradiction and flaws in reasoning, solve problems in an orderly fashion, spot the relevance and value of ideas, reflect on the reasoning for one's own beliefs and values, overcome native egocentrism and sociocentrism, predict consequences based on known information, knows how to use that information to solve problems, and finds relevant sources of information to inform oneself. How can you foster critical thinking? Despite the various processes of critical thinking, American philosopher John Dewey categorized it into 5 phases. Suggestions: the step where the mind starts predicting possible solutions. Problem: an analysis of the difficulty of the problem, a question that is unanswered. Hypothesis: using multiple suggestions to create an idea to start and lead observations and other operations in the collection of facts. Reasoning: the elaboration of the hypothesis or idea. Testing: verifying if the hypothesis is liable. This process can be used for projects and research. However, on a day-to-day basis to foster critical thinking, Take part in conversations, readings, and class discussions. Take part in daily self-reflection. Challenge ideas you don't agree with. Find similarities and differences in your day-to-day life. Keep your brain engaged. I would like to end with my all-time favorite quote by Albert Einstein. Education is not the learning of facts, but the training of the mind to think. Bye for now, and see you next week.